everybody, so we're back talking some more Season 2 of The Wheel of Time on the channel, Episode 6. Only a few episodes left to go of Season 2, surprisingly, believe it or not. It seems like this season overall has kind of been flying by. Although, I do feel the last few episodes the show's been hitting its stride narratively as I anxiously await to find out what happens next each and every week in these storylines. But before I dive into my thoughts about the episode, make sure you share your thoughts down below. How did you feel about Episode 6? There's a lot of stuff to talk about this week. And consider liking the video and subscribing, because it's always fun to talk about the Wheel of Time on the channel with you guys as I'm diving into this show as someone who has not read the source material. As there are quite a bit of storylines in Episode 6, I figured the best one to start off on is where we left off last week with Rand being in the dream world with Lanfear. Obviously, the relationship between the two of them is a bit different now with the added context that, she's evil, but I do find it fascinating that we're seeing this connection between the two of them deepen and even adding some layers to Lanfear that I wasn't quite expecting, since she does have previous experiences with other Dragons Reborn. While I am initially skeptical to Lanfear's intentions when she's telling Rand all of this stuff in the dream world, building skepticism towards Moiraine's intentions, I do think it is just believable enough where I could see seeds of doubts growing on whether or not Rand wants to trust Moiraine or trust the Forsaken. A majority of Lanfear's appearances this week are in the dream world, but she's really bouncing around here, going to a lot of different places, even physically going to visit Leandrin while she's taking care of her son. If you've watched my previous reviews of The Wheel of Time, you would know that I find Leandrin to be such an interesting, complex character that I never necessarily know how I feel about, and I think that continues to be exacerbated in this exchange between her and Lanfear, since I do feel empathy towards Leandrin in this situation, struggling with her attachment to her son and not wanting to let him go. In a sense, that is the final connection that Leandrin does have. Lanfear's been making quite an impression early on, I gotta say. In 2 back-to-back episodes, they've killed somebody. Overall, the majority of the storylines in Episode 6 are pretty dour, the most of all being Egwene's storyline now that she's imprisoned by the Seanchan. All of the sequences, anytime they cut back to Egwene, were so rough to watch because it was just brutal watching this woman torture her mentally and physically, breaking her spirit, telling her she's a demone and trying to make her subservient to her and pour her some water, and there's not even a way that she can fight back in this situation. There are a vast majority of villains in the Wheel of Time universe that are worse than this woman, but currently at this moment I think she might be the biggest villain of the Wheel of Time, just because I hate watching her torture Egwene like this crazy psychopathic woman who believes she's doing the right thing and even tries to build a friendship with Egwene in between beating her mercilessly. If there's any solace I could have about the situation, it's the fact that multiple groups are plotting to try and rescue her in some shape or form, whether it's Loial, Nynaeve, Rand. Kind of random, but in the brief sequence that Loial did have in Episode 6, I gotta admit, he sings pretty damn good. I did like that sequence, even though it was quick. Whether you want to chalk it up to convenience story-wise or not, I do think it is pretty awesome that several of these characters' storylines are slowly converging, being in the same location whether they know it or not. My personal favorite was Rand and Mat getting to have this touching reunion, and Rand getting to fill Mat in on all the info that he missed, including faking his death. Mat even offers to tag along with him. There were a handful of things I thought of once Mat offered to go on this journey with Rand. First one was nervousness, since we had seen that vision before that Min had, that Rand gets killed by Mat eventually by the dagger. And another one, it seemed like Min didn't have to do anything to make this plan go into motion. This new altered deal that she's been having with Ishamil, Mat has to go on this adventure with Rand. She wants her curses lifted. It's too bad in this instance for Min, because she does the right thing and tells Mat all about her vision of him killing Rand with the dagger. I feel so bad for Mat, and I consistently do. This character is just so beaten down at this point, emotionally, physically. It was refreshing seeing some joy out of this character briefly early on before it was all taken away. Then it was sad seeing him choose to stay behind and hide and watch Rand from afar as he tries to leave. Also, I wasn't sure if we'd ever see Logain again, so it was a delightful surprise getting to see him once again, Rand trying his hardest to get some lessons out of him real quick while he's on the go. It's kind of funny, I'm not entirely sure which is at fault here. Is Logain a bad teacher, or is Rand a bad student? Rand has no idea how to use his powers. Logain just tells him to embrace the Source. And Rand just embraces the Source a little bit too hard to the point where he's basically going supernova. It's certainly something that we're going to have to revisit down the line on Rand trying to control his powers, since that clearly is an issue. And he does worry about it a lot since he has all these horrific nightmares. We get to see another horrific vision of him brutally murdering all of his friends. Ishamil taunting him that this is what his future is going to be like. Can Rand ever just have like a normal dream? I think so far we've never seen this character just have a normal, regular run-of-the-mill, peaceful dream. It's always death, destruction, doom, and gloom. At least these dream sequences allow more interactions between Rand and Lanfear, and I quite like this interaction between the two of them. You could even possibly say it was friendly, since Lanfear does offers him the gift of dreams to go and see somebody. Obviously, he's going to choose Egwene. Not that Egwene's in a great position right now. Both of them are very confused, just for extremely different reasons. Egwene's a prisoner. Rand is supposed to be dead to all these people. While I haven't touched upon it until now, I did also like the storyline with Nynaeve and Elaine, because even despite the both of them being rescued, you have to love how they're still skeptical about this entire situation. Even with these people helping them, they still have a lot of doubts. Even when they reveal to this yellow Aja that Liandrin is a dark friend, she tries to get them to leave and go tell everyone about it, and they're stubborn and they say no, they're not going to leave without Egwene. Why would they? The bulk of their story is wrapped around how can they figure out how to open these items, trying to channel but not channel too much so they don't get caught, which sadly they do get caught by the Shan-Chan. That part did bum me out a lot, but it did lead to a brief yet awesome brawl in the streets. Even though there has been a lack of Aes Sedai action in Season 2, this reminded me why I do think it is so cool when we do see these battles take place. They channel and battle in the streets. I was bummed out that Basan got murdered, but what followed was pretty awesome, since she's turning all these folks into pretzels. Sadly, she does get imprisoned afterwards, but in the moment, that battle was awesome. As for a few other plot threads that are kind of minor this week, but definitely have implications for bigger things in the following episodes, I was definitely intrigued on Lan trying to be sneaky and leave this camp and getting caught, having to reveal that they found the Dragon Reborn. I wasn't as fond of Moraine's limited screen time in episode 6, since it does pretty much deal with her just having continuous family drama. She's rude to her nephew, apologizes later on, so at least that's okay, I guess, but it's just family drama that I don't find all that important. The most important detail about all of this is the fact that she writes this letter to Mother Suan, and she does arrive to speak to her at the end of the episode as we're setting up more plot threads, which I was very happy to see her character. I loved her introduction, even if she almost murders Land while making her introduction. With several plot threads converging in Kyrie Inn, I'm really intrigued on where we're going to go. I already discussed the ambulance seat here to speak to Moraine, but some of the other ones as well. Like Lan being there to stop Rand before he can leave. It definitely does suck that by the end, Egwene does break and now is able to pour the water. That did kind of bum me out, I'm not gonna lie. We do end with a shocking reveal. It was something I certainly saw coming, just in the way that the Yellow Aja described the story of what happened in the past to Nynaeve. The woman on the other side of that wall from Egwene is a blue Aja that she mentioned earlier on. I forget her name. I remember seeing her in Season 1. I just don't remember her name. I remember her face. So that's wild that they've even caught her at this point. I mean, it's just a lot of stuff is happening. A lot of crazy stuff is happening. I don't know where we're going to be wrapping up things by season's end, but so far, I'm definitely intrigued in where we're going to go with a lot of these storylines. So like I said before, share your thoughts down below. How did you feel about episode 6 with all these different storylines, the big reveals, and how are you feeling going into these last 2 episodes of season 2? Share all your thoughts down below, because part of the fun is having the conversation with you guys in the comment section down below. And thank you guys, as always, for checking out the videos. I always do appreciate it. Make sure to leave a like on the video and also subscribe to the channel so you update reviews, reactions, unboxings, and more. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.